Welcome to the Gear Slum, your one-stop shop for all things guitar culture nonsense. I'm Aaron.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Cole.
We slim it hard so you don't have to. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that my new internet is better than my old internet and I can hang out for an entire episode.
And leave your video on
without crashing out.
I would like you to make sure that you have things plugged in and that your power doesn't turn off.
I do. I'm plugged into a wall.
Is that
got my charger on.
Oh, good. Oh,
this outlet is not controlled by a random light switch across the room.
I forgot about that little extra tidbit. Was that an exterior outlet too?
No, it's like in the corner by the door.
Okay. I guess it would make sense if it was an exterior outlet though, because it would be like for Christmas lights or something.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, did you guys do anything for Independence Day yesterday?
Canada Day?
Was it Canada Day?
No, Canada Day is July 1st. And Saint Jean Baptiste Day is June 24th. And I wanted the Avalanche to win the Stanley Cup on June 24th. Because it's Jean Baptiste Day, but they won it 2 days later.
Yeah, I was hoping that would happen too.
Man.
That would have been a nice bit of a Canadian kismet.
That's like Quebec's big holiday.
Quebec.
I was actually lucky enough. So when you're on a mission, maybe I've already said this. You don't like choose where you go within your mission.
Mm-hmm.
So you get transferred around every 4 or 6 months or whatever. And
but like in the same region or?
Yeah. So like my mission covered all of Quebec and Ottawa.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I could have been transferred anywhere within that area. So transfers happen to be on like June. They might have been right on my birthday on June 27th, but I was in Sherbrooke, which is in Quebec, for Jean Baptiste Day on June 24th. And then I got transferred to Ottawa, which is the freaking capital of Canada, and got
Canada Day.
For Canada Day. So
That's cool.
I got the best of both worlds.
Like Miley Cyrus.
Exactly.
Canada Day.
Canada Day. Canada Day.
Canada
Day. Canada Day that never mind. Can I just say I was trying to do a bit. Here's a funny thing that my wife and I say to each other all the time. It's not that fun. No, not that. So when I was in when my wife and I first started dating, we were going to this church and it was like Christmas time and they were doing like a kids program. And they brought the kids up, like 4 or 5 year olds, and they're like trying to tell them what to say. And so they go to this one little girl, they go, "All right, say praise you, Jesus." And she goes, "Da-da-da-da."
So you say that to each other?
So I say, "Da-da-da-da." Oh, yeah, all the time.
Dude, that's awesome.
Da-da-da-da.
Not even close.
So,
come on, kid.
So a very a standard part of Mormon culture, of the Mormon church, is to have what we call the primary program. Primary is our children's organization, like children's Sunday school.
Yeah.
And every year in the fall, we have the primary program where the primary kids all get up and read their little things, that in theory they have written themselves, but let's be honest.
Let's be honest.
And it's always like cute on one hand, but it's also uncomfortable on the other hand, because it just looks like a whole bunch of kids that are like reciting the lines that they were fed,
Right.
Yeah.
Just like indoctrination, know?
Yeah.
So I always remember on my mission, you would take people to church that were like, checking out the church or whatever. And in the back of my mind, I'd always be like, ooh, when it was the primary program, like maybe they'll think it's really cute, or maybe they'll be like, why are these kids being forced to recite these words that they don't even know what they mean?
I think if you're religious, you kind of have to just accept that there's a little bit of indoctrination no matter what. Like there kind of has to be.
Totally.
So,
and there's like I mean,
And
there's
it's
indoctrination.
everything,
We teach our kids what we believe in all aspects, right? Not just religion.
Exactly.
So like,
yeah.
yes, totally.
Yeah.
But
you can't really have it any other way.
Totally, yeah. So like
It's
our
just,
kids are.
It's just funny when it's like 10 kids in a row.
Yeah, when it's like very much put on display of like, say the words we told you to say, and don't get too close to the mic because it won't sound good. Da-da-dee-da.
But like, the thing is, it's the kids. It starts with, okay, repeat what I tell you to say.
Yeah.
Because they don't know, and so you're like, okay, here's what we believe, and then they go, oh, okay,
yeah. At a young enough age, all education is indoctrination.
So
right.
But it's been nice the last couple of years, and I don't know if this is like church wide or if it's just our ward, but it's mostly been like primary goes up to age 12. So it's mostly been like the 2 older years of kids who say all this stuff, and then all the other kids just sing the songs, sing all these churchy songs, which is like at that age they actually know what they're saying. Whether they believe it as strongly as adults do is debatable, but they at least know the words they're saying. And in theory, and like my son who participated, he wrote it all himself. Yeah, it is always a little bit.
Sure.
I've never had people do funny stuff. The kids do funny stuff, but it's usually just getting like way too far up on the mic and stuff.
Yeah.
Like putting the mic in their mouth. I've never had a
kids say the darndest things.
They do,
Darndest.
I love that show. Don't you guys love Cosby?
Was that a Bill Cosby special?
I think it was. I think it started out, or was it something?
No,
was it a different name? I mean, he had a show that was the premise of it.
Yeah.
Theo with the pudding and the roofies. We were both like, woo. What's the word I can use that's not going to like make people super uncomfortable?
I'm highly uncomfortable at the moment because of that.
Do you need a different chair or something?
No, because you said roofies.
Oh, because of the
unfortunate
events.
Yeah. Guys, I have a game for you. It's not really a game.
Is it baseball?
It's not really like competitive in the way that Guess That Pedal Review is competitive, but it could be fun. And this is based off a TikTok trend, and this game is called It's a 10 But.
Oh, is it that guy who wants to be on SNL?
No, I've seen that guy. I've never watched him. I scroll past every time. I'm like, I don't want to watch this. It's called It's a 10 But.
Ooh.
Overdrive edition.
With a single T.
Maybe I kind of want you to like guess what the pedal is too, but then I don't want to like step on toes,
It's a 10 butthole the neck.
So for those who don't know, it's a 10
it's a
number, but there's either like a red flag or some kind of like big positive. And then I want you guys to give me the new rating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the trend was born out of
objectifying people
sexually, and saying like, oh, he's a 10, but he eats his boogers or something like that.
Yeah. Or I saw one like he's a 10, she's a 10, but she's a Disney adult.
Yeah.
So you gotta like
which like I'm rank. Torn on that because I don't like criticizing people for what they like.
Yeah, exactly.
But also like
you find Disney adults annoying.
But it's also it's all relative because like if you're that too, then you're like, okay, that's a plus for me. Or it might be a negative for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, like the full tone OCD, you might say like it's a 7, but it's built by a major beehole.
Just like
so like what's the new range
bag?
Yeah. Wait. A 3.5 or like a 4.
So we are.
Okay, wait.
So when you ask these, you do have a pedal in mind. It's not just
Yeah,
like
I'm looking at specific pedals.
Okay, but we don't know.
I think it would be fun to guess.
I'm not going to tell you what the pedal is, though.
Okay, we don't know, and then after we answer, then you're going to tell us.
No, we should.
Yeah,
we should guess.
You can give like a guess, but we're not going to like keep going.
Yeah, we're not going to wait until we guess it.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
All right. Okay. Here we go.
So your ranking is also how the ranking.
It's also
you give
subjective, yeah.
But is that how you actually feel? Is the first number how you actually feel about the pedal?
Yeah, it'll be personal to me, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
It would be hard. I mean, I can kind of go off of like rankings, but everything I'm on Sweetwater.
Make it your opinion.
4.5 or 5 stars.
Interesting.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
It's an 8, but it looks really cool. It's not okay.
I see no problem.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
All right, we'll start off.
Really, what that would be is like it's a 6, but it looks really cool. So like,
yeah,
it's a pedal that isn't.
All right, so here we go. Let me do this again. It's a 6.5, but
out of 10,
it looks really cool, and it's only $99.
Oh.
This is overdrive. These are all overdrives, by the way.
Okay, so sorry.
If it looks really cool, man, that's worth a lot to me.
It's a 6.5, but it looks really cool and is only $99.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, you're saying that now what I'm hearing is this pedal
now
sounds supposed to like give it a 6.5.
We're giving it a new ranking. You're saying?
Yeah. So the ranking will always be on like general functionality and sound, like the original ranking.
Yeah.
So that part's as objective as possible.
I'll go 8.5.
All right, 8.5,
9 maybe.
That's pretty good. I would say that I would get about there too.
Yeah. Okay, so now we have to guess. So it's $99.
$99 exactly.
One guess.
Yeah, I have no idea of a pedal that looks cool and is $99, but you don't think it sounds very good.
I mean, it sounds fine. 6.5.
I'm trying to think.
It's a C. It's a C plus. It's a 7.5.
I'm trying to think which pedals are $99 nowadays. You know.
Yeah.
Right. That's because that sounds like a fantastic deal.
Yeah, I'm thinking like a Boss something, SD1 or something. Those don't look really cool though.
They don't look cool.
Dang,
it's not that.
No.
Those are like $65 too, I think.
New?
An SD1, yeah.
No.
I'm looking at one right now and it's $64.99.
New?
Yeah. That's the 40th anniversary edition. Yeah, they used to be $50. An SD1 used to be like $50. A Blues Driver is more, but the SD1 is like cheap.
I'm trying to avoid just turning it into guess that pedal. It looks really
just
cool.
Tell us, Aaron.
Oh, it's the Earthquaker Plumes.
Oh yeah.
It's just a tube screamer, but
it's funny because that is
cool
one of
it's pretty cheap.
That is one of the pedals that I know costs $100.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked the way that sounded too.
Yeah, I like. Well,
it's weird that it's only $99 since it's an Earthquaker pedal, but I don't know. I feel like the price of pedals is just completely arbitrary nowadays.
Yeah, so I think part of it is the fact that it's a tube screamer, which means there's like very little R&D that has to go into it.
Yeah.
You know it's going to sell a ton. And so you can kind of just like crank it out without much thought, maybe. So the overhead is way low. I think so. JHS came out with the 3 Series, and then like other people have done similar things. I feel like it's probably a trend that's going to start happening, or maybe pick up more. But
I mean, they're basically just like making them completely overseas and just putting their own.
Yeah, what do they say? They're like assembled in Akron, Ohio, or something.
Yeah, which means
I forget
like
the specific
verbiage
like they use. Yeah, built. I think built is the term that people like to use.
Yeah. Even that though, are there like rules? Because there are rules on if you can put "made in the USA," but there probably aren't.
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
say built.
Yeah, I think you can't say "made" unless it's like.
Yeah, unless like a certain number of the component, and even if they're from the USA, they have to be like "made in USA" certified, because that's like a government thing.
It's like an official.
For a while, this was a real thing, right? Like for a while, there was a city in China that had changed its name to USA,
Oh,
so they could put.
I've never heard that, but I feel like that would be.
I
feel like you wouldn't be able to get but that's like the type of thing someone does, and then they just know that they like probably won't get sued about it or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
like if you're not big enough.
Made in USA.
Yeah, exactly.
Stupid.
That is pretty.
Okay, I'm gonna Google it because
it's all arbitrary, anyways, right?
Yeah. Okay. Boss SD1 is $62.99.
Jeez, so that's weird because a couple years ago, remember all the Boss pedals, like even the DS1 brand new, was still $99 or maybe more.
Yeah,
even.
that's true. DS1 is also $62.99 or $2 a month with financing.
How long are you financing
for 48 months?
Dude, come on, guys. Dave Ramsey's rolling around in his grave right now. Dave Ramsey died. Did you hear that?
No.
What?
No, that was just in my dreams.
Oh.
PTL.
I had this. This was a really weird experience last night, and I kind of felt bad about it. But I was woken up at like 1 a.m. by fireworks last night.
Uh-huh.
And I was obviously very annoyed. And then I literally went back to sleep and had a dream that I like went and found these people that were setting off fireworks and beat them up.
Whoa.
Just beat them up.
Yeah, apparently I can
it.
control my dreams.
That's tight. I wish I could do like, what's that? Lucid dreaming? Is that what they call it? Where you can, you're like aware that you're doing it and you can kind of like walk around and explore inside your dream.
Yeah.
Okay, so Snopes says it is a false.
Lucid dreaming.
Oh, Phil.
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say you looked that up really fast.
But it also says that it was not China, it was Japan.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
so
Dave Ramsey.
A little bit racist that. It's a little bit racist that you assumed it was.
You know what I was thinking yesterday is like, we always talk about Japan being in the Pacific Ocean, but no one ever talks about China being on the Pacific Ocean. But it is, right?
They don't? What do you
mean
one?
They
Don't?
Like, it's not like, they're like, oh, you know, the Pacific, South, and it's like the South Pacific. And then,
yeah.
But like China's never really part of the conversation when you're talking about like Pacific.
I guess
stuff.
so. Because they weren't like a part of because the Pacific was like, you think about
because it's like World War
right?
II, yeah.
Like the Pacific Theater.
The Theater of the Pacific is what I like to call it. Just sounds cool. You know,
It does sound kind of cool.
All right.
It's also weird that like somebody would make a rumor. Like there would be no benefit to making something in Japan and pretending it was made in the USA. Like both places are pretty expensive to manufacture things.
Right. Yeah, especially like electronics. Like Japan is pretty highly regarded.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. Or like crafts, you know, like guitars or other like, or like, you know, fine knives or something like that.
Yeah. Some samurai swords.
Yeah, you know, ninja paraphernalia, sumo wrestling outfits, you know.
Yeah. Kung fu movies. Kung fu, is that Korean?
You're like, it's kung fu, Japanese. Karate. I think you're thinking of karate.
Yes. That's my favorite part of
bonsai trees.
My favorite part of Best of the Best is they show a letter at one point of like he's being accepted onto the team, and it's the kung fu competition, but it's the U.S. karate team that's going to the kung fu championship, which I always thought was funny.
I don't get why that's funny.
Because it's two different things. It's like,
so the karate.
Oh,
team
kung fu and karate. Oh, you're saying okay.
Yeah. It's like, why is the karate team?
The way you said it made it seem like it was funny because it was the U.S. team, not because it was the kung fu team.
Yeah. The
hi, Brittany.
Thing is the funny part.
Tell her we said hi.
No.
Tell her did it. Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, he's like, these two worlds do not mix.
The kung fu.
She walked
US
into our
karate
world.
team. The national karate team is in a kung fu championship international.
You know what's crazy about me is that you've told me to watch that movie many times, and still, for the life of me, I don't know what the premise of it is whatsoever.
Oh, dude. So let me tell you about
He just told
it.
you.
I mean, yes, that is the basics of it.
There's nothing else.
No, there's a lot more. So it's a competition between the US karate team and the Korean national team in kung fu, and it's team on team. It's a two-team championship.
That's like if we had like the New Zealand rugby team against the Dallas Cowboys or whatever.
Yeah, but everyone on the US team has like like a good story. So like the one guy is like, he's been injured before and he like wants to make a comeback, but they don't really want him on the team, but he gets on anyway. And then this other guy is like, he kind of he holds back because his brother died doing kung fu, and he's like afraid to go all the way. And in the
because
finale,
he's afraid, they just like shoot a whole bunch of pucks at him at the same time, so he can get over his fear.
So he like kind of loses. He's not afraid of like the puck. He's like afraid of letting go and like hurting someone. But in the end, he fights the guy who killed his brother.
Oh, geez.
And he like goes all the way, and then he's like about to kill him back, but he doesn't.
He's about to murder somebody in a karate competition.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like it's all legal because it's like within the rules, but the dude, he's like could easily end the dude, and he doesn't. And then the dude and then at the end, the US team loses to the Korean team.
Whoa, spoiler.
But then the Korean team, one member at a time.
I'm totally gonna watch this movie that you told me to watch 2 years ago.
Walks over and puts their medal around the neck of a member of the USA team.
The one whose brother died?
No, all of them. So like each member of the Korean team finds a different member of the US team and gives them their medal.
So it's like that scene in Rudy where they put.
And then he says,
"Do they kiss?"
He's like, "Your brother was dope, and I'm sorry I killed him."
Does he say it in kind of an insensitive Japanese accent?
Yeah, Korean, but yeah.
Has it been Korean this whole time?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Always been Korean.
But the best part is so Tommy he's an Asian guy.
Wait, this is an old movie, right?
Yeah, it's like 86 or something.
Okay.
So Eric Roberts is one of the guys, and his shoulder gets dislocated, but he wants to keep going, and so he says to Tommy, he says, "Pop it, Tommy," and he pops his shoulder back in, and he continues.
Just pop it, Tommy.
Pop it, Tommy.
And Chris Penn.
Yes, Chris Penn is in it. He's like a cowboy ninja,
basically playing the same role he played in Footloose.
Yeah, he's the he's like the cowboy from D2, but it's karate instead of hockey.
And but he
Dwayne something.
But he says a lot of really racist things.
He's very racist.
Nice.
Like at two people's faces, he like says racist things to their face.
Like things that would have been perceived as racist at the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like he's intentionally very overtly racist to his teammates.
Korean people or whatever.
It's like that's racist, but we don't care that it's racist.
Well, that weird thing that existed back then of, we know this is wrong, and we agree as the audience that this is wrong with the characters of the movie.
Yeah.
However, we also believe it is entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
and
that's
we can
the
hold
hard...
these things together. Whereas now we say, okay, that's wrong and should not be entertaining.
But I think even like, because Always Sunny will do that, and I think they would probably admit it, that like they're portraying bad people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they will say bad things that are not acceptable, but part of the laugh that you're getting is because it's also funny, right? Because it's
I mean, like
or whatever.
Every racial Michael Scott joke, right?
Like Ping.
Or like when he says that all waitresses look the same.
I'm laughing because it's deep satire. I'm not laughing because I think it's funny.
Yeah, it's not funny at all.
Is that the same episode where he puts a mark on the girl's arm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To tell them apart.
That's the one. And he's like, "Where's my girlfriend? Where are you?" And then he marks her.
And he gets her a bike from the. Does he need to like take it from the donations? The Secret Santa.
Yeah,
stuff?
it was one that he had donated. It's like Toys for Tots or something.
I get annoyed when people are like, "Oh, you can't make that joke anymore," but they say it during like a current. Like I would see that on that Tom Segura thing that I was watching.
Yeah.
Like the comments are like, "Oh, you can't say that anymore." It's like this
I just
special
said it.
is like 2 months old.
Yeah.
And this guy is extremely famous. Like, oh man.
Yeah.
So do you have another one for us, Aaron?
Yeah, this one is these are overdrive / distortion / fuzz. So I would say it's a 9. It's a 9. But
does it say overdrive / distortion / fuzz on the pedal?
No.
Okay.
This one calls it's called itself a fuzz pedal, but it's debatable. It's an 8. Let's say it's an 8. It's an 8, but it has 6 different options.
Is it a muffaletta?
It is.
Why is it bad that it has 6 options?
It's nice. I didn't say it is bad. That might be good. I said something.
I honestly want one of those pretty bad. The whole downside of the muffaletta to me is just like the fact that it's mind-boggling to me that Josh Scott is like, he was able to go from being hated by a large portion of the community for having stolen all these designs to then now he basically has built his brand around saying like, I actually stole these designs and now I'm reselling them,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he like tweaked it. He's like, well, I'm not stealing. I'm a historian.
Exactly. It's pretty. He's a shrewd man, that Josh Scott. His shrewd banana hands. Yeah, I do want one of those. I even want the bonsai.
Yep, that's a good one too.
I know I shouldn't. Yeah, I'll give that a freaking 9.5, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Does the muffaletta, the bonsai, doesn't he have another one?
There's a pack rat.
There's a rat one.
Okay.
Yeah. That one's not as appealing to me for some reason.
Oh, see, I think I think all 3 of them sound cool. I think all of them, the idea of all of them sound really cool, and until I see the price, and when I'm reminded of how much it costs, I'm like, hard pass.
The muffaletta, I feel like, is the differences between the different big muffs is more interesting to me than the differences between rats and tube screamers.
The tube screamer one I'm not interested in at all.
Yeah. Like I think it's a very smart pedal to make, and I bet he sells a lot of them.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not interested in owning it or using it.
Yeah, or listening to it, or seeing it.
Maybe part of it is
processing it, bought or sold.
I have like a pretty cool vintage. Well, it's like early '90s rat and a DRV, so it's like I have all my bases covered there.
Yeah. Do you have a wave cannon too, or no?
Yeah,
that's technically a rat too.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually one of the circuits in the pack rat is the wave cannon.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. So he got with Philippe and they revamped it to make it like a 3-knob version of with like limited obviously parameters, but yeah, it's in there, which is pretty cool.
Part of it is like I could see the big muff. I don't know, it'd be cool to have like vintage big muffs, but so many of them are not attainable,
Right.
Like it would be very cool to have some old, crazy Russian big muff or whatever, but I'm just never going to pay what I would have to pay to own one.
Yeah, I hear you. So you're saying there's a chance?
Sure. Chance of what?
Of anything.
Mm.
All right, here's a good one. It's a 7, but it has 2 channels and 8 knobs. Is that good or bad? I don't know. Am I doing this wrong?
You're doing it wrong.
Kind of.
There's no
you
right
made
or wrong.
The game. Because I've seen those too. He's a 6, but he doesn't cheat on his taxes or something. I don't know.
You got to go both ways.
Don't tell me what I got to do.
Except the way this is supposed to go is that
why don't you tell me how it's supposed to go?
The butt is supposed to be a universally unsightly thing.
No, we literally set out ahead of time.
Literally just said that it isn't always that way.
Well, this doesn't work.
Okay, well, let's just stop. We're done. No more. We don't have to do it anymore.
Oh, is it like a sunset?
No.
Is it something like that? Is it? What's the other one? The Riverside?
Like that at all.
2 channels. Is it just like stereo?
No. I mean, it is stereo, but the channels are different and independent. Is it stereo? It's not stereo.
Like it has 2 types of overdrive in it?
Yeah.
2 channels and 8 knobs. I feel like 2 channels is kind of interesting, but 8 knobs on an overdrive pedal is just too much.
Yeah, so it's 2 overdrives together, and one has a 3-band EQ, and the other one does not.
Oh, I feel like I know. That sounds very familiar to me. Is it a pedal we've talked about before?
I don't think so. It's the Wampler Paisley Deluxe is what it is.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what? You're just going to tell us like that?
Yeah, that's what that was. I also set that out before we started the game, that would happen.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I feel like you didn't listen to the rules.
I think having 8 knobs is more of a downside than having 2 channels. So what is that pedal like? It's a
I think one side is like I'm trying to think what it is. I know one side is like a Nobles ODR type thing.
Okay.
And the other one might be like a Tube Screamer type thing.
Isn't the ODR basically? Well, the ODR is like an SD1, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit. I mean, it's
not a Tube Screamer.
Will tell you it's different, but yeah, I don't know how.
Yeah. Because Tube Screamers,
I think it has hard clipping instead of soft clipping.
That's right.
But I don't know enough to say for sure. My spirit has been crushed in this game, and I don't know if I can.
I mean, you try stuff, right? Like, what was that game that I tried?
I think maybe it's more fun if it's made up stuff and not like actual pedals.
Yeah.
So like, let's say like, okay, it's an 8.5, but the tone knob works backwards.
Yeah. Or like every time the sound cuts out completely when you push the foot switch or something like that.
Yeah. Or it's a 9, but the input and output are on the sides and the power jack is on the top.
Ooh.
That's not objectively good or
what's
bad.
That
this
rating?
is
situational.
I'm liking this more.
Well,
it's just like the Disney.
It's
like the Disney adult thing, because if you're a Disney adult, it's like if your pedal layout accepts that.
Yeah. So rate it based on your pedal layout. There's no right or wrong answer.
I feel like
it's a 9, but there are 2 foot switches.
No,
it's standard enclosure.
No. It's a 9.
And they're very close together, so it's really hard to push one at a time.
Like the 50-50. I have.
It's an 8, but the LED is way too bright, and like when you look down at your board, you look up, you've got
any of your pedals,
but you're skipping half. You're skipping half of it because you have to then give it a new rating.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, you give it a new rating.
Yeah, but
I'm
you didn't let
giving
us
you
give a rating to the last
No,
one you said.
You didn't never gave mine a new rating, is what I'm saying. And you're just listing these things off. You're just going one after another without ever giving it a new rating.
You have to give it a new rating, Phil.
You got to give it a new rating. That's half of it. It's
Viewer,
the fun half.
Viewer, listen to Aaron genuinely getting upset with me.
Yes.
Did you hear that he was genuinely upset with me just now? Usually there's an indifference in his voice all the time, even when he's like angry with me.
I don't know. He gets genuinely upset at you all the time.
But he always sounds so casual.
It's very frustrating.
What was that game that I tried? Oh, the Am I the A-hole? It was like, this is just
I like
depressing.
that. I thought that was fun.
I think I needed to find ones that are more that we would disagree on. I think that's the problem with that game.
I think you should write some. I think you should write some. Am I the a-hole? Like, make some up that are.
I'm convinced that most of them
culture
are fake.
related. Exactly.
I'm convinced that most of those posts are fake. Like the overwhelming majority.
Well,
I saw a TikTok about an "Am I the a-hole?" and it was guitar related, and it was just, "Am I the a-hole for selling my guitars that I own that my brother plays all the time?"
Ooh.
And I was like, yeah, that's kind of a bummer, right? Because obviously, like, no, you're not an a-hole for selling guitars that you own, but that is like a bummer that your brother doesn't get to play guitar anymore.
How about am I the a-hole for always playing my brother's guitars and not having one of my own?
It's like maybe your brother should have bought them.
Yeah, sell them to him. That's a tough one though. You're like, I know you use this all the time and it's always in your possession, but I'm gonna need you to pay me for it now.
I think the deciding factor might be the relative ages.
Oh,
like you need more context. If it's like your brother who's in junior high and he's like loving playing the guitar and getting good at it and stuff, and you're like, no, I need $100 for my gambling addiction or whatever.
Right.
That's what kids do nowadays, right? Gambling.
Totally.
I think so. Yeah. Quarters. Dice.
Yeah. It's not vaping, dice. It's gambling.
Vaping is gambling with your life.
Oh, with your respiratory health.
And with your
and
soul.
Maybe your face skin being burned off when it explodes.
Your eternal soul also.
Yeah, that's true.
If you die while vaping, you go straight to hell. That's just it.
What if you're vaping as a part of like some youth group demonstration on how bad vaping is?
Oh yeah. Or what if it's like in a movie?
Oh yeah, like an Alec
What if it's
Baldwin
like a human?
scenario.
What if you're vaping in a human video?
You think it's fake because you're in a movie, but it was actually a real vape, and then you get lung cancer.
Like that thing with the Martin guitar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's good. The best one I saw was they're talking about movies, and he goes, "It's the 10, but the writer and director wrote himself a part in which he gets to say the N-word many times."
Yeah, I saw that one.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, exactly. The writer and director
wrote a part for himself, not for
exactly.
Someone else.
A little sketchy.
Quentin, QT, what a guy.
I'm starting to think maybe he's not that great of a guy.
He's problematic, I think.
That's what I'm starting to think.
I think he's certified problematic.
I know that's controversial to say that, but it's just what I'm starting to think.
What do you think is the most problematic Tarantino movie?
It's probably not one of his famous ones, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe Jackie Brown.
Yeah.
But then again,
why Jackie Brown?
Just because, like, well, I guess Kill Bill, maybe he does the same thing, where he takes a genre or like a form that is like deeply rooted in a marginalized community and then like capitalizes on it. So like for a white guy to make a blaxploitation film is kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then it's Django Unchained.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the thing. It's like it's hard to say, but yeah, I probably Django. It probably is. It probably has to be Django. But then it's like all these. It's like Jamie Foxx and Samuel L. Jackson and what's her name, Kerry Washington. I mean, they essentially like sign off on it too. So it's like he obviously feels
but
like it's like, oh, I guess I have a pass or something. I don't know.
But also, like, is it a little? Oh man, I'm probably gonna put my foot in my mouth. But like, he's casting these characters who obviously have to be played by black actors, right?
Right.
And he chooses like the most famous black actors there are that are already super. Like he couldn't have chosen some other actors and like have their big break or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the white actors are all pretty famous too, but it's just because he's like,
that's more just a function of who he is, right?
Yeah, he's got the
like
cachet and he's like, it's a prestige project.
Yeah.
But don't you think it seems more
like
problematic if he's like a super famous writer director and he gets no name people to be in that exact same movie?
Yeah, maybe in a way, because then it's like, I mean, not that they don't have agency, but it's like they're obviously like
that does feel more like,
he has
well,
more like authority over them. I guess
totally. It's like that's like why, you know,
like if Sam Jackson is uncomfortable with something, he can tell him that.
Totally.
Right. Well, the fact that it's Samuel Jackson is in the movie, he can say like, if people are like, "Don't you think this is like, you know, like this is problematic?" And he's like, "How do you mean?" And they go, "Well, don't you think it's like exploiting black people?" And then he's like, "How am I exploiting Samuel Jackson? He's like the biggest black actor like of all time. How am I exploiting him? He's exploiting me."
Green Mile.
Yeah, that dude's big. Or
I think it's more the fact that if it was somebody, like if it was somebody who wasn't big, it would be like, well, I kind of just have to go along with it because this is my chance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Break, you know. It's like the same like all sexual harassment, right?
Yes, exactly.
But then it's also like because they have cachet, he can like borrow their cachet to like get a pass, kind of like.
Yes.
But
which
they
couldn't do with no name actors.
But they don't have enough. Like Samuel L. Jackson doesn't care about that movie enough to like give it a pass if he doesn't actually feel like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I know, but they signed off
like
on
externally. I mean, more like so like other people seeing it or like, well, if Sam Jackson and Jamie Foxx are okay with it, then it must be okay.
I'm forgetting the details about this, but it must have been on. Remember what was that show called where it was Jon Favreau and he just has dinner with like industry people?
Yeah, it's like
I think it's called Dinner for Five. Is that right?
Something. I think that's right.
So I want to say
Wallace
that was
Shawn
the show.
Do that first though?
Huh?
Didn't Wallace Shawn do that first?
I think you're thinking about Dinner for Schmucks.
I want to say that was the show that this was from, and there's a director, and I'm not remembering enough of the details about this, but it was
it was a TV show.
Yeah. But this one particular story was, a guy doing a very, very indie movie. So like the budget was very, very low, and it was like a movie like taking place like in the South, like in the 1800s, and so they hired these black actors to be slaves, and there was some scene that they were filming where they're telling the actors, okay, here's what you're like. They don't have speaking parts, and they're telling them, okay, here's what we need you to do in this scene, and one of the guys goes, like, he just goes, "I'm not doing that," and the other guys are like, yeah, this seems like because it was so low budget, like
Yeah.
they just kind of like turned on him, and then and then it was like he's like and then all of a sudden
and now he's just like a white dude telling a bunch of black guys like, hey, I want you to pick this cotton, and they're like, no, I don't want to.
And then he's like, no, you have to.
You have to.
Exactly. And he's
Yikes,
like,
dude.
You don't have a choice.
It's like, I'm not a director anymore. I'm just some guy in the middle of the San Bernardino desert.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to get more and more uncomfortable. All of a sudden, it's like, this sounds like a really bad idea. Why did I not think this is a bad idea when I had all this written down?
That's why you just got to animate everything.
I'm hoping that somebody listening will tell me what I'm referring to, because I don't remember who that was telling the story.
I mean, a lot of the people on this show are only marginally famous. And there is an enormous list of guests. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Guess how many episodes there were. Guess how many episodes there were.
63.
Dinner for Five?
Yeah.
Dinner for Five is not marginally famous. Like, it was a lot of very famous people.
And a lot of marginally famous people.
Oh, okay.
Guess how many episodes there were.
I mean, the more episodes you do, I'm sure like the less famous you kind of go. 50.
How many, Cole?
50. You nailed it. It's exactly 50.
I looked it up. I cheated.
You jerk.
Can I watch it right now? Is it streaming anywhere?
I don't know, but like, here's the list. What? Oh, it's the last name. Obviously, it threw me off because the first two are J.J. Abrams and Joey Lauren Adams, and I was like, why does it start with J?
Joey
Danny
Lawrence?
Aiello. He was on it.
Who?
Aaron,
Danny Aiello.
Oh, Danny Aiello. He's like famous in circles, right?
There's a ton of like character actors on here, I think.
Yeah.
He's like
Where,
one of those comics guys.
I mean, heck, Jon Favreau is kind of that, right? That like,
well, except he's like a big time director now.
Not anymore. He's like
now
insanely famous.
but like
now.
he used to be like, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
in the
I recognize
2000s
that
he
guy.
wasn't.
I don't know what his name was,
That's
Yeah. That's
Philip
the dude
Baker
from,
Hall, Sean Astin,
He's the other dude from Swingers.
Jennifer Beals.
Jennifer Beals, yeah. She got a nose job. Jennifer
Aaron,
Beals is the sister from Ferris Bueller, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess
Aaron,
so.
where can I
Not
watch
the sister,
that
the
show?
girlfriend. She looks like the girlfriend, doesn't
No, she got it because Jennifer Beals had like a major nasal reconstruction, rhinoplasty, to make her virtually unrecognizable from where she was, like in the 80s.
In Dirty
On
Dancing
purpose?
and
Mm-hmm.
yes, well, Dirty
Yeah, 'cause
Dancing
I
and
think
Ferris
she-
Bueller's Day Off.
I'm sure she got a lot of like negative feedback because she had a rather large nose, and so I'm sure at some point she's like, I'm not doing this anymore.
But it
I
wasn't.
need a
It wasn't so
small-"
people wouldn't recognize her.
No,
No, it was
it
just
was,
cosmetic.
I want-
She's like,
because
I
she
don't want
didn't
this.
like
I want an
Yeah, yeah.
objectively attractive nose.
Yeah, but I think
Oh.
it was like a unique feature that was
Fran Drescher.
immediately recognizable. It was on IFC, but I don't know if you can stream it
Izzard.
anywhere. You can just Google it though. Dinner for
Yeah.
Five streaming. It's on Amazon. I don't know if you have to pay for it.
Yeah, I hate that. Like, it's on Netflix apparently.
On Amazon, it says unavailable in your location.
Yeah, apparently it's on Netflix.
Oh, nice.
What?
I'm
It's
sure
on Netflix.
Yeah, apparently it's on Netflix. He says.
Apparently, I'm checking.
I still haven't seen the new Top Gun movie.
I don't know that it is available on Netflix, but
I feel like why
It
isn't
is
there?
not.
I'm
Why
sure
isn't
it
there
was
just
at
like
some point.
a
It is
known
not.
repository of this information? Because it constantly comes up. Like, where can I watch this?
yeah, I would assume that it's not streaming anywhere. So all the links that you're getting are like old. Like it used to
Yeah.
be streaming on those services.
Or it's like
and
this
now
is the
it's
only
not.
place you can stream it in some countries or something. Like
Yeah.
that. When I look up Dinner for Five on Netflix, Happy Gilmore is like the 4th suggestion.
Oh,
That's interesting.
I wonder why. Maybe Adam Sandler was on Dinner for Five at some point.
Probably.
When did Jon Favreau make the jump? Was it like Iron Man?
What you mean? What was his?
Like, when did he become famous?
Like, when did he become? When did he move from like indie guy to like big time?
Okay, so
big shot?
I just listened to a podcast with him, and like one big stepping stone was Swingers, but that was still like obviously indie, but it definitely like kind of made a name for him. Then the next big thing would have been Elf.
Oh, right. He directed that, right?
Yes. Now Elf was not a
and who did he
said
play?
He directed it.
He's in it though too, isn't he?
He's also the doctor, yes.
Oh, that's right.
Now, so he said Elf was not a like initial commercial success.
Yeah.
But it is like the fact that like at Christmas time, when you turn on cable TV, there's a short list of Christmas movies that are kind of in constant rotation.
And that's a classic now.
Now it's considered a classic. And he's like,
that's why you make a Christmas movie or a Christmas album, is because people pull it out every year, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, like he was making the point that like, well, lots of people make Christmas movies and they don't become like,
right.
There aren't a lot of Christmas movies with that many famous, because like Will Ferrell was already huge when it came out. Like, I bet there aren't a lot of Christmas movies that are theater like successes, right? I guess, I don't know. Like
maybe Home Alone probably was at one point.
Yeah, Home Alone.
I guess kids movies. Elf is a weird one though, because it's like,
I think if you saw the
for
trailer
kids,
for Elf,
but it doesn't like feature kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably would have
like
thought
the tone,
it was a grown-up movie.
The tone is strange when you first watch it. Like, it feels off.
Yeah.
But then once you've watched it all the way through, then you're like, okay, I understand what this movie is doing, and then it's but then after Elf, like it would have been Iron Man that was like,
well, he did Zathura,
but nobody cares about that movie.
Yeah, but I'm saying like that it almost seems like, how do you get Iron Man after Zathura? Because that was like a big bust, right?
He said Zathura was what got him, like, the fact that he did a movie that was, I mean, basically an action movie. It's him working with actors and a lot of special effects.
Mm-hmm.
But like now, like when people talk about Marvel, it's like this massive juggernaut. But like,
I guess Iron Man was like one of the early ones before
it was the first. Yeah, it was the first of like them saying like, okay, let's make a big swing. Let's try to like launch.
Mm-hmm.
Like the concept of a cinematic universe.
It was the first like Paramount movie, Marvel Paramount movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like the idea of, okay, we're going to try and make this like, oh no, it was Disney. Disney bought Marvel, and then this was like their first attempt at like,
Disney bought Marvel after the first Iron Man.
Did they?
Yeah, the first Iron Man was like 2005 or something, wasn't it?
2008. I'm looking at it. That's how I know, but I don't know about Disney. I don't think Disney owned it yet, though.
Disney bought Marvel in 2009, yeah. So that was like partially maybe because of Iron Man.
I'm sure, yeah.
And other stuff, maybe Iron Man was a result of other stuff.
So in the movie Iron Man, they make Iron Man, and then there's an after credit scene.
In the movie Iron Man, they make Iron Man?
Yeah. Haven't you seen it?
Yeah, Aaron.
There's
Tony
a movie
Stark
in the movie.
I
thought you meant they make the movie.
No, they make Iron Man.
They make Iron Man.
There's a post-credit scene that now seems like, oh yeah.
Remember how Phil pointed out when Aaron was getting genuinely angry with him? Now Phil's getting genuinely angry with Aaron.
I'm always genuinely angry at Aaron.
It's true.
I can't.
Okay, so there's a post-credit scene with Jon Favreau.
No, there's the post-credit scene with Samuel Jackson.
Yeah.
And he says, "I'm Nick Fury.
Yeah.
I need your help."
Yeah.
And it was like this mind-blowing thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, wait, are they going to make more?
Like they're
Yeah,
gonna make
exactly.
another movie that makes them billions of dollars.
But that's what's
But
crazy.
it wasn't even
is
that. It's like they had it planned beforehand.
Yeah.
But that's what's crazy. At the time, it was like that was like completely insane that they would attempt
Yeah.
to do that.
Dude,
Yeah, because
check this
And
out.
now-
Kevin
now
Feige
it's like
has
comical. Like
Kevin
they'll
Feige
include
has
everyone
produced-
from any universe.
all the Marvel movies with the
Okay.
MCU movies. How much money do you think all of those films have grossed like in the box office? Like to get
Grossed?
all of them. Yeah.
Total?
Yep. So all the MCU
Starting with
films,
Iron Man or
Yep.
before?
No, starting. So the MCU Kevin Feige movies.
I don't know why I'm asking because like
from
well,
2000,
I mean, I'm
starting with Iron Man.
As if you have like some hard number in mind and you're gonna
Yeah,
adjust it
exactly, like-
based on that. It's like
Worldwide. This is worldwide.
it's like billions.
$200 billion.
How much do movies like? What did Avatar make? It was like the record. It was over 100 something. Was it 100?
It was the first movie to break $1 billion.
Okay,
Avatar was the first movie to break $1 billion.
Oh, was
$1
it?
billion. Oh, because Titanic was like 600 million or something.
I think it might have
I
been.
feel like all these numbers are just like fake. You know.
Oh,
I know.
So
it's,
wow. So he.
I think
he
Titanic
did-
broke $1 billion like afterwards,
Holy
but like
crap. Yeah,
Avatar
I didn't know he
broke
Titanic is
also-
like 2.2 billion.
Dang.
Avatar broke $1 billion in theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah, Avatar is at 2.8 billion. Okay, so all together, what are we talking?
Starting with
20
Iron Man.
20 billion or something. How many have there been? Like
A lot.
There's
More
been
than
24.
there's
24?
24.
I
How much
think.
movie do you think? How much money do you think 24 made? That's what we should be talking about.
Oh, dude. All right. So it's 26.
Has there really been 24?
$26.8 billion.
Jeez, dude,
That's just box office too. That's not
that's like a
including
Walton.
like
That's a Walton kid.
streaming and.
I'm kind of surprised it's that
or
low
DVDs
because
and-
Yeah, on one hand,
that's over
like,
$1 billion
but
per
the
film.
funny thing is, it's only because the number 26 seems low. It's like, it
No,
sounded a
but-
lot more impressive if it was 500 million. You know.
but there's
Right.
there's so many movies and like so many of them have made $1 billion, right?
Yeah,
They would
but
all
a
have-
lot of them
that's-
haven't.
The
would've-
average is everyone has made over $1 billion is the average.
Jeez. Okay.
There's 24 and it's averaging almost 27 billion. And like Ant-Man didn't make $1 billion.
Yeah. Okay. That's true.
What's the lowest? Do you have it? Like, are they all in front of your face right now?
I don't see numbers for them.
Okay. I'm gonna guess. We have to look it up. I'm gonna guess. The second.
Is it going to be one that we aren't even thinking of? Okay, what do you think is the highest grossing box office?
Endgame.
Is that? I mean, is that too easy?
You think?
It is.
Okay.
here's-
Avengers
that's
Endgame.
what
do you
was
think is-
probably the highest?
What do you
grossing.
think is second in the theaters?
Thor
no, wait.
Ragnarok.
Let me make sure I'm looking at this right. Okay, this is lifetime gross.
Okay, I have a
Put it
list
on.
of the 14 lowest.
Thor Ragnarok is not. That's like the full name of the movie. You're going
Yes.
to be disappointed here, Phil. Thor Ragnarok is number.
I don't think that's real high.
21.
I would
Really?
say the Spider-Man movies are probably really high.
Yeah, Spider-Man: No Way Home is second.
Yeah.
Black Panther is third. That's honestly surprising to me.
That makes sense to me. but I
Infinity
wouldn't
War
have
is
guessed.
fourth. I would have thought Infinity War because Infinity War and Endgame I felt like were the biggest. The ones
feel
that
like
heard
Infinity
talked about
War.
most. Infinity War
I
was
would
the
think would
second
be
to last
higher
one,
than
right?
Endgame.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
The reason part of the reason of like massive box office is hype,
Yeah.
right? So that's why the conglomeration movies are going to be obviously have like
Right.
Why are you laughing?
Because this is from Box Office Mojo, and it's like just movies that apparently have the brand Marvel attached to them.
Oh my
Brand
God.
Marvel Comics. So the bottom one on the list, other than re-releases, is Punisher Warzone, and the second to the bottom is Howard the Duck.
Oh, hilarious.
Yes.
So what's the lowest MCU movie since 2008? I would say.
I don't know if I can.
I have
That might be hard to.
Is Fantastic Four? Is that Is that Marvel? That's like
Huh?
The
thought
reboot
that was like.
is, but it's not.
It's weird that X-Men has X-Men always been Marvel.
It's
X-Men
always
is
been
Marvel, but it's not MCU.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I think
Though they
I
were
don't know
also
if some
produced
of
by
these are
Kevin
MCU.
Feige.
Is
And-
Hulk
and-
MCU? Oh, that's the
Yeah.
2003
Well,
one.
which one?
The 2008 one is really low on the list.
That's the lowest.
Is it?
That's
Okay.
the lowest MCU film.
The Incredible Hulk.
And how much do you think it made? $264 million.
Jeez.
That's the lowest one.
of an enormous list.
Oh, but dang, the movie cost. How much do you think a movie costs to make?
That movie cost a lot.
Guess how much?
300 million.
No, it didn't lose money.
No, it didn't lose money.
Okay.
But it cost
Like
$150 million.
Holy crap, dude. I would have guessed like 50 million or something.
Okay, now wait. Are you guys are either of you looking at lists that have like the really sad movies?
I'm only looking at MCU.
MCU.
So here,
Okay,
what do you
'cause-
think is the second lowest? This one is surprising to me. Second lowest.
Is Fantastic Four considered MCU?
I don't think so.
No, because it
'Cause
was
it's not like connected.
so
is,
that
is Morbius
so the-
considered MCU?
yes.
This might be too old for that then.
So
Because that
that-
might actually be the right
It might
answer.
be, which is pretty hilarious.
No, this is updated June 21st, 2022. So
okay,
Is Morbius
I'm
on
gonna
the list?
say,
Maybe they
it's
don't
not on the
consider it.
list, so maybe they're not considering it part of
Probably
it.
not.
is it Iron Man 2?
No, it's not a sequel.
Oh.
Okay, of course. Okay, yeah, it can't be.
Oh, is it the Captain America one?
It is Captain America,
The
the first one.
The first Avenger.
yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
And then
I-
Black Widow was after that,
Oh wow,
and then Eternals.
But they're all like pretty close, right? Because what
I kind of like Black Widow.
are they
So-
all like right in that $200 million range?
No, so Captain America made 370 million, Black Widow 379 million.
This is worldwide.
Yeah. Eternals
Okay.
402 million, Shang-Chi
Okay, but-
Eternals.
432 million.
Forgot about that
Dude,
one.
that movie's dope.
Shang-Chi, my favorite part is
Yes.
when she goes, you went into hiding and you changed your name from Shang to Sean.
Okay,
movie is
so
This list
prior to
Ant-Man made more money than Thor, but that's probably because it came out later and it had like
Yeah.
crossover stuff going on.
yes,
Yeah.
so prior to Iron Man, there were many Marvel movies made. Some
Many Marvel movies made.
really good, like Blade 1 and 2 are freaking fantastic.
Hey, Blade Trinity, don't malign
No,
Blade,
Blade Trinity is not good, but 1 and 2 are so good.
Okay, what's Blade Trinity? Like a 3? So it's a 3, but it stars Jessica Biel
And Ryan Reynolds.
and Ryan Reynolds. So it's like an 8, right?
Yes. Oh, perfect. You know what? That's a great use of the.
Yeah, of the meme.
But
Of the
see, I did
meme.
it backwards and you were okay with it. So
Well, that time I did.
yeah.
But
But I guess you're
so-
right. If you're like ranking it relatively high, like it's an 8, and then you try to like give it a positive,
Add
that
good
doesn't
things,
really
it's
make
like,
sense.
wow.
Yeah.
I'm with you. You're right.
Okay, so there exists a movie starring David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury.
No way.
Yeah, there's another movie. I think it's Dolph Lundgren plays Captain America. Like these are very, very bad movies that were made not relatively not that long ago, but like Marvel was just making some really bad choices.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just that it was like easy to like Marvel was selling the rights really easily.
Yes.
I'm trying to find out which is the first or which movie that made the least made over $1 billion to see how many of the movies made $1 billion or more. So at least this is out of what, 25 movies or 20 something movies.
Well, it has to be a lot of them if the number of movies is relatively equal to the number of
I think it's more
billions
skewed than you think.
But you said the highest grossing was Endgame, and it was only like 2 billion, right?
Okay, so the top 10, Captain Marvel is the 10th highest grossing, and that
the difference between 1 and 2 million is enormous.
Yeah, especially because the other ones are making like 700-800 million, so they're close to a billion, but they're not cracking the number. So
okay,
you only have to make like 1.2 to average out to a billion. But Captain Marvel is the 10th highest grossing, and that's the first one on the list to make over $1 billion.
So there are 10 that made over $1
billion. There's 10 that made over $1 billion. Captain Marvel, Spider-Man Far From Home, Captain America Civil War, Iron Man 3. These are all about 1.1, 1.2. Black Panther, Avengers Age of Ultron. I'm trying to see how many have broke. So, yeah, Infinity War and Endgame were the only two to break 2 billion.
Jeez.
And Endgame is 2.8 billion. So that's almost 3 billion. The
Endgame was huge, dude.
The domestic box office was 860 million.
I've probably only seen like 3 of those movies in the theater. And I saw Endgame.
What's crazy is a couple of those movies are like
Infinity
not
War
good.
Endgame. The top ones.
That's the thing, though. Like who? Like,
but you're right. It is the ones that have all the characters in them because it's like anybody who likes any of those characters is going to go see it.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so like Iron Man 3 is
It's like
not that great.
Group.
Like nobody, like people who are Marvel
Nobody's
fans,
like, oh yeah, Iron Man 3, that's the one.
Iron Man 3 is not great, but here's the thing with Iron Man 3 is Iron Man 3 came out after they had established that you have to see every movie.
Yes, you're right. That's exactly why. That's exactly why. Yeah. And it was right after Avengers. I think it was the next movie to follow Avengers, and the trailers were full of Tony Stark saying everything's different now. How can I, like, and so it felt like so like it they really convinced everyone like you have to see this.
Yeah, it's like
if
watching
you like that movie, you have to see this.
Series.
Exactly.
You can't just skip it because then you won't know what happens in the one that you do want to see. You're like, wait, what is this?
Yeah. Do you want to spend $20 in the theater, or you can't just ask your friend what happened?
You want to just look like a fool? You're gonna Beclown yourself like that? You know what I think is worth $1 billion is friendship.
Yeah. 2.8 billion?
Not quite, but 1.189 billion, I think.
Yeah. Just under 1.2 billion.
Yeah, just under 1.2, not 2.8. Nothing's worth 2.8 billion.
Nothing.
But the funny thing is that's just box office too. Like, they're making way more money doing other things with it too.
Yeah.
You mean like Legos?
Licensing and but even just like streaming, like I wonder how, well, I guess not really because Disney Plus, they own it now, so they don't have to pay anyone to stream it.
But that's why they did it. They created their own streaming service because they're like, think of the money we will make.
Yeah, just on subscriptions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a lot of streaming services and I use Disney Plus the most right now, probably because I have 2 like 18-month-old kids, but
that's how we use Disney Plus more than anything.
Although we watch HBO Max a lot because they like Sesame Street
and Euphoria. They love Euphoria, right?
They do. Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for friendship. Honestly,
thanks for friendship.
Yeah.